Okay, I think we'll make a start then. Thank you very much indeed for joining us this morning. As you know, I'm Rosie McLennan. I'm the Group School Liaison Lead for Inspire Education Group. This is our third Workshop Wednesday, and this morning we're going to be joined by Liz Knight, who's the Academic Director for University Centre Peterborough. So big thank you to you, Liz, for joining us and presenting today. Absolutely brilliant. I've just got a couple of things to mention. The first thing is the session is being recorded. So if you'd rather not be seen or heard, then please switch off your cameras and your mic. That would be great. The other thing is that we have a sort of extra parents webinar, if you like, and that's going to be held on the 23rd of November at 6:30 to 7:30, and that's really for parents, carers who haven't managed to make it to an open evening, or perhaps have and still have lots more questions and concerns that hopefully we'll be able to help with. So I'd be really grateful if at any stage you can share that. I will be sending out the invitation and the link to it hopefully by the end of this week, but any support in marketing that would be absolutely great. Okay, well, we've only got about 3/4 of an hour, so I'm going to hand over to Liz. Thank you very much, Liz.
Good morning, everyone. It seems very appropriate for me to be talking about higher education as we're now within UCAS season, so everybody's frantically getting applications in. Just to give you a little bit of context, University Centre is the HE arm of the Inspire Education Group, and we're based in Peterborough on the Park Crescent area. We also have a campus in Stamford as well. We've been delivering degrees for about 25 years in total, if not longer, and have just entered into our 15th year of being University Centre Peterborough. So what do we offer then? So I'm talking to you from the position of being a local provider. So that's both local for students across Peterborough and Stamford. It's important that we look at local providers at the moment, given increased living costs and the costs that students face when moving away to study. So we are a smaller provider. It's possibly one of the reasons that we've ensured that 80% of our students achieve a 2-1 or above. So that's a 2-1 or a first degree. That's due to a number of things. So small class sizes, qualified staff who also have connections with industry and also undertake research. You also will have seen in the press recently a lot of commentary about the TEF. For those of you who are not in higher education, if you think about the TEF, the Teaching Excellence Framework, as an equivalent really to Ofsted. So we achieved a silver. And we're really proud of that. So we're amongst about another 100 universities that managed to achieve that rating. And again, that was down to a lot of the things we do for our students. So about the support we offer them, the opportunity they gain to get employment experience, and also their final classifications. So if we move on now, I'm going to introduce you to my colleague, Gemma. So Gemma's going to talk to you a little bit about student finance. When students are considering higher education, finance is often one of those key issues. So they want to understand it. And I think that's often true of parents and guardians.
Definitely. I'm just going to give you a bit of an overview, and then if you've got any questions at the end, just let me know. So student finance is broken down into 2 separate bits. So you've got your tuition fee, and that pays for all your tuition costs and gets paid directly to the university. As long as you're eligible for student finance, that pays all of your fees. It's not means tested. It doesn't matter how much income you earn, you just get that paid. To give you a little bit of an overview, most unis cost about £9,250 per year. We're going to be £8,250 per year. So it all makes a huge difference when you think there's interest on top of that. With the loan as well, to be eligible, you basically need to be classed as a citizen, and that's about it. As long as you haven't already done any higher education, most people will be eligible. It's not too much of a hard process to apply for. And then you've got the other strand of it, which is your maintenance loan. So this is designed to support you alongside your university. So helping with living costs if you're moving out, helping with travel, which a lot of students are travelling in now with accommodation prices going up, but it all helps with stuff like that. With your maintenance loan, it's a little bit different. So this is means tested. So it does depend what your family's income is on how much you can get to support with your studies. If you're trying to weigh up how much it's going to cost you to go to uni and how much support you're going to have, best thing that I'd recommend you do, search online, just go student finance calculator. The government website have got a really quick calculator. You just put in your rough income and it gives you an idea of how much support you could get before you have to do the full application, which just gives you a little bit of an idea of what your student's going to be working with and what they need to budget around, which can be really, really helpful when making those decisions, whether they can afford to go away, whether they're going to be commuting. It just really, really helps with that. With applying for student finance, so both of these applications come together. So you apply for this, it normally opens around March time, so it's worth having a look out for that. What I would recommend is just get them to apply as soon as possible, because it can take a little bit of a while, especially when it comes into their busy season and they want to know they're all set up for uni. If they haven't decided what uni they're going to or what course they're doing, it actually doesn't matter. They can still apply for it. Just put down their favourite uni and their favourite course, because you can change that right up till September. So it really doesn't matter. The best thing to do is just get that application in there so you know you're eligible, you're all set up for September. It just makes it so much simpler. To help with living costs as well, I'm just going to quickly bring over some of our bursaries that we're offering our students. So we have a low income bursary. So anyone that is under £25,000 household income a year would get £500 every year to support with their studies, which can make a massive difference, especially when it's coming to travel. We also have a care leaver bursary, which is the same, £500. We've also got an IEG progression bursary. So anyone that's come from the IEG group, so Stanford or Peterborough, and come straight into higher education, so straight into us, would then get £500 on completion of their first year, just to really help them with that transition. And then, yeah, so we've got a few bursaries on offer that they really do help with living costs, and especially with the rising costs, everything helps. To be honest, it's worth looking at. We also have an ambassador scheme as well. So if you're looking to increase your employability skills while you're at university and really help widening participation and your engagement with your studies, we also offer a scheme which is up to £1,000 a year. So we have lots of things in place to help students, and you save a lot by studying locally. Transport's in, we've got the college buses that a lot of our students use as well, which can really help. Yeah.
And I suppose the last one I should mention on there as well, this is more of a subject-specific bursary. So this is the Malcolm Bradbury bursary. So many of you will have heard of Malcolm Bradbury. So that means that over the course of their studies, the successful student, if they're studying on an English or creative writing degree, will be able to gain £7,500. So that's split £2,500 across each year of study. So that also is something to enable students, if they want to progress and develop their careers in the arts, they can of course do that. And they have opportunity then to work with other practitioners, and that supports them being able to do that. So that's also the Malcolm Bradbury bursary as well. So if we move on to the next section, top tips for personal statements. So this is about the guidance you really need to give your students. What I would say about writing a personal statement, first of all, is that there are excellent resources on UCAS. UCAS also has fabulous resources that parents can dip into. But I think we need to be very clear, for many of these students, this is going to be one of the most significant investments they make before they actually purchase their own house. So it's really important that they research into where they're going to go, what they're going to be studying, and why they're doing it. So that's really, really important, because when students go to universities, they are entering a contract with that university. So they're going to face things like fee liabilities. They could face the same things as well if they have accommodation. So this is just about doing the initial work, finding out as much as those students can but actually spending time researching the institution. You can do that by looking at a website. You can do that by looking at prospectus. They are, of course, marketing tools. What those students really need to be doing is going along to open days, engaging in applicant days, and really find out what the institutions are like. You know, go and spend time there, walk around them, meet the staff. So that's really important. But students should also be researching that institution before they start writing their personal statement. It sometimes is easier if you're thinking about a student that might be going into a medical degree. They might be wanting to become a dentist. They might want to become a lawyer. In some ways, writing their personal statement is slightly easier because they have a career focus and end goal, and they're able to really articulate around some of those subject requirements. But for other students, we need to remember that studying a degree throughout your lifetime is expected at least to add in the region of 10,000+ a year per annum. But we often enter degrees and then we branch out into our careers. So when writing those personal statements, please get the students to understand what the subject actually wants for them. If they're going to go off and do a psychology degree or a sociology degree, what have they done before? Where does that interest come from? They need to be reflective as well. I see many, many personal statements that are just a description of what they've done at school or college. What I'm looking for, particularly if I'm one of my courses is overprescribed and I need to match the best student with the best course, I want them to be a little bit reflective. I want them to tell me why mentoring some of the students at a lower level in school has been a really good thing for them. I want them to tell me why being a scout leader, what has it added to their CV? So don't let them just describe. Think about the why. Think about where it's going to take them. And that's why some of the wider personal skills and civic engagement are really important. So if you do have students that are prefects, if you do have students that are team leaders, that are student ambassadors, that are active in any form of your student unions and do lots and lots for charity, please do explain to them how important that is for this personal statement. It's important in the same way as it would be important if they were going to apply for a job. So think about the personal statement as a really good refined CV. It is also worthwhile as well asking them to write it at least 3 to 4 weeks before they're going to submit it. It just gives them time to stand back, reflect, work out if everything in that personal statement sells them to their best ability. Sometimes as well, Gemma spoke about bursaries. If you look at numerous institutions and you did some research around them, so if you went onto our website, you'd find bursaries. You may also find bursaries at other institutions they're planning on studying. At the college, we provide, so this is students leaving the college, going off to other centres, apart from myself. The college gives an institutional context a little bit, just about where some of those students have come from. Sometimes that can be really helpful for an admitting institution, because I spoke to you about care leaver bursaries. Many institutions may offer things for first in family, etc. But some of that is a skill, how you can weave that into the personal statement, or maybe just ensure that students really openly declare if they have any specific learning needs when they actually make their application. Because it's things like that, that transparency will get them the best course and the best place. So the guidance I've really given there is for you how you try and steer those students. But hopefully that's been of use. Again, you can ask me any questions at the end. If we move on then to the next bit, I think we need to be really clear that for many of our students, they're entering university because they want to improve their career and job choices. For some, a career success is equated to salary. For others, it might be equated to job satisfaction. So by that, I mean anybody working in education, I think we're in it for the job satisfaction. Or if people are going to go and work in the arts areas, they're doing that for job satisfaction. It can be very rewarding and can offer career progression. But just to give you an idea of some of the companies we work with and organisations, and when I talk about employability, it's not like when I went to university and somebody put a little card in my pigeonhole and told me there's going to be a milk fair on one day and I had to go along if I wanted to find a job. We don't operate like that anymore. We have an employability hub, and we try and encourage students to start their employability journey and their progression journey. So it may be they want to go into work, it may be they want to go to masters and higher study. So we cater for both. But what we do is it's about encouraging students in their first year maybe to do some mentoring, maybe do volunteering. By their second year, we're getting them paid internships and directing them to do paid work within professional settings. So, for example, I have a couple of students at the moment that are paid part-time employees of the marketing department at IEG. I have another who I'll talk about in a moment. We also get students to take on real world projects. So if they're working across digital arts, media and journalism, etc., we ensure they're getting bylines, we're getting their work out there. So some of our students that created videos for Peterborough Celebrate, so that was our first year media students. Our journalism students have run a nationally recognised award-winning blog. All of those things are building their employability skills, building a portfolio of work. But you can see a range of organisations there, from police, we have the NHS, we have Safri Champness, so they're an accounting body, the BBC, so we have an intern there every year, Bauer Media. We'll also work alongside the Heritage Lottery Fund and also the Arts Council as well, for those students who are operating in the creative area. If we move on, an important thing to also note is that we will work with our graduates 15 months after they graduate. So for us, the fabulous ceremony we all have at the cathedral, where those students get to celebrate with their family and friends, is not the end point. So for 15 months after they've graduated, they can come back to us. We'll work with them on CVs, we'll work with them on interview techniques. We also run virtual assessment labs. Increasingly, a lot of companies are doing that now. So if somebody wants to step forward into a graduate position, they might invite you for a virtual assessment lab, which may last a day. And that's all around solving problems. So they might give you key pieces of information and they want you to structure a response. Maybe there's been a staffing crisis in your organisation, you have a project to deliver. They want to know how and what you'll prioritise to get that project over the line. So we're doing all of that work with them, encouraging our students to be linked in, and we'll support those applications as well. So that part is really important. 15 months after graduation as well, we're also guiding our students into studying at master's level. It may be some of them take a pause between completing their degree and before they embark on their masters. Again, we're here to support them with that. So that's whether that's their personal statement writing, whether that's looking at any bursaries that are available for them, or even offering them additional work experience if they want to move into a very specific field. So that's what we do for them sort of post-graduation as well. Just a couple then of student successes. So I think often we relate more when it's a personal story. So I mentioned we work with the BBC. Media and journalism is often quite a hard area to get paid for internships because it's a very popular sector to work for. But what we've been able to do is, for the last 2 years, we've been working alongside the BBC. And each year they interview and select one of the level 5, so second or third year journalism students, and they give them a paid internship. What that does mean, though, is that they're out there getting the same stories under the same pressure and having to broadcast them as their regular members of staff. So currently, we have Annie Fowler, so you can see her there. She's one of our students. So she's at BBC Radio Cambridgeshire. She typically works there about 10 hours a week. Again, those shifts will change. It will be based on where they have a demand for stories. But she's building some fabulous skills. She's creating fabulous networks, which is one of the things you need to do in many industries. If you make contacts, you can often be more successful. And she's also as well bringing back some of those skills to the rest of her group. So where she can see an opportunity, she's also inviting them in. So that's the BBC. So that's one of the internships we run. So Annie's doing that alongside her studies, that paid employment. Another one of our students. So I mentioned briefly about how we build our students and support them not only during their degree, but also moving them on to the master's programme. So this is Kian. So Kian came to us. Initially, he was intent on doing his sports science degree. Soon became very, very evident after he attended a couple of BASES conference, so their nationally recognised sports conference, that he was actually interested in further study. He also became very interested in the medical exercise aspect of his course. So from this, he's now currently studying a master's in clinical exercise and physiology at the University of Bedford. And he's hoping that where his career will end up is working within the NHS, working in a cardiology department. Increasingly, we're seeing a lot of connection now between sports exercise science and the NHS, as basically we're all trying to probably prevent illness rather than treat, if you want, the consequences of poor lifestyles. So just some of our students there in terms of the successes that we can present to you from University Centre Peterborough. Right, we've got a bit of a Q&A session. So if you want to ask us anything, it can be about student finance. It can be about bits I've said about personal statements. It can be finding out a little bit more about us. I would just like to make you aware of a couple of things though. So first of all, we do have an open day on the 14th of November. So if you have students within your schools or settings, please do ask them that they're more than welcome to come along. They just need to book in. Details are on our website, and bring their friend if they want to for a bit of peer support, or bring mum and dad or any of the guardians. If you wanted us to do anything specifically for your school, if you contact Rosie. And just also to flag as well, we do run a number of one-to-one IAG virtual sessions. So I am aware that finance can be, even though we said it's a process, you need to start early. Finance can be a little daunting, and a little daunting for some parents. If you had students where you felt that it might be beneficial for them and the parent to attend a one-to-one virtual session, you can also book those as well. And then even the questions, however daft they may seem, can be answered, you know, in confidence. We can work them through the process, but they'd also get that same type of support if they came to an open day. So I don't know if anybody's got any questions for us. I can see there's maybe something in the chat, or whether Rosie normally does this by controlling everybody. Oh,
yes, I can't see any questions at the moment, Liz. Anybody got any questions? No, no. Looks like you've obviously done really well, Liz. Okay, Bryony, can you apply for multiple bursaries?
yes, you can. So if you look on our website, for example, I could have a student that's from a low income background and is also getting an IEG bursary and could potentially get the Malcolm Bradbury bursary. What students need to do is, and you probably need to guide them into this, so when they're looking at university websites, get them to look for additional support, get them to look for fees, and get them to search along any bursary. Sometimes bursaries might be based on the information they put in their student finance application. So if in their student finance application they agree to share information with institutions or Student Finance England, that way they can often be automatically eligible. So I know, for example, all the students in our low income category, because Student Finance England calculate that for us. But yes, you can apply for multiple bursaries. Just get students to check the eligibility criteria. If it's not an automatic process, get them to raise a query with the admissions team at that university, and I'm sure that'd help.
Great, that's really helpful. Thank you. I've got another one from Beth from Catmills College. She said, apologies, but she's not sure. Do we do any degree apprenticeships?
We currently don't do any degree apprenticeships at the moment, but we are starting to embark on HTQs, which are going to be higher technical qualifications. They should be launched for next year. And in addition to that, we do offer some, I suppose we'd call them non-traditional HE programs, but they've been geared to very much sort of specific sectors. So things such as level 5 diploma in web development, so full stack development. We're finding that that's really appealing to people currently in work who want to upskill, or we are seeing potentially students who may have left school a couple of years and are now tipping back in to do that. And that's a totally online programme. And again, you're supported into employment at the end of that. And that's a level 5 diploma. That's full stack development. I'm not an IT specialist, but if you go and talk to people who know a lot about coding and web development, it's a really sought after skill set.
Okay, brilliant. I don't think there are any more questions. No. Okay. thank you so much, Liz, Gemma. Thank you very much indeed. And if anyone thinks of anything, you know, later, then don't hesitate to message me or Liz. But anyway, you know, we will come back to you, obviously. And thank you very much for giving up your time today. And I hope you found that really helpful. Thank you.